Welcome back to Jim's Well Done Guitars and another edition of the Guitar Bucket List. I'm Jim Fusco, and right here is my prized possession. This is my Gibson Les Paul Custom 1968 model. But this one is nowhere near a 68. I mean, they didn't make guitars that look like this in 1968. All right, this is, I don't even know where to begin with this guitar, to be honest with you. Let's start with how I found it. So I was watching my guitar videos online, as I used to do all the time, and I've since cut back because, you know, I've got a lot of guitars. But so I was watching a video that kind of featured this, you know, like searching around and you know, for guitars online, and this one came up. It was from Eddie's Guitars, and it was like one of their made-to-measure programs, and I saw it. I remember sending it to my brother, or maybe he sent it to me, one or the other, and we said, like, that's the one. That's it. You know, if money was no object, this would be the one. I mean, the quilted top, I think it's a, you know, whatever, quadruple A quilted top. The back, which in the pictures looked purple, by the way, and they still claim that it is that, but it's definitely more of a royal blue in person, and I don't know if that's showing up. It's so reflective. The finish is unbelievable on this guitar, and even has a different feel, almost like it's like harder than a normal guitar finish. It's very mirrored. I think that they might have put additional layers of finish on it. That's kind of the way it feels to me. I don't have anything quite like it. The smell is unbelievable. But you know, we saw this one and it was just one of those like, yeah, you know, someday. Well, that day came when I found it. I just happened to be, you know, browsing on Reverb, and I came across this, and it was still a ton of money, but it was a lot less than the original price. You know, because this is one of their made-to-measure programs. And so it turns out that the person that owned this, it was, you know, bought it from Eddie's, realized, I guess they were a little older, realized it was too heavy for them, and decided they didn't want it anymore, and took a pretty big hit on selling it back to Eddie's. And so when they sold it to me, I got it for an even better price than that. And so really when it came down to it, you know, yeah, it was a lot of money, but considering what this originally went for and should go for, I think I ended up making out pretty good on the deal. And I have it. That's the most important part. But so what makes this a 68? So, you know, Les Pauls went out of production after, you know, once they brought in the SG in the early 60s. And then they eventually came back with the Les Paul once, you know, some of the more famous people like Jimmy Page and such were using the vintage models. And so one of the things they did was they changed the headstock pitch. You'll see that this one has a very shallow headstock pitch as opposed to my regular Gibsons that I've got now, which, you know, are definitely further back. So that was a change. It also has the waffle back tuners, the Kluson waffle back tuners. So that was on the 68 models. It had obviously the normal custom appointments, the block inlay style. But then in 68, they weren't really doing, as far as I can tell, a lot of the 3 pickup version. And so that was kind of a departure, and they didn't have any of the, you know, fancy tops to it as well. So, you know, so this really, you know, it's got a lot of the 68 specs. It's got the ABR1 bridge that's drilled directly into the body. I'm starting to become more and more of a believer in that because of how amazing this sounds. And you know, throughout my life, and my friends will laugh when I say this, I've always been a value person, right? You know, and not cheap. I'll argue that to the death, but a value person who says that, you know, just because it costs more money doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. And then I got this, and it was like, oh no, it's by far the best one. It is, it's by far, and when you hear the playing demo at the end, you'll hear it too. It is by far the best guitar playing guitar that I have, sounding guitar, there's just something different. I can't exactly put my finger on why it's so much better to play, why it's easier to play, why it's just sounds better. You know, it's kind of like Taco Bell, right? You know, they put the same 4 ingredients into every meal they've got, and yet you have your favorites, and some of them are just better than others. Maybe it's kind of like this, you know, you throw a whole bunch of pieces of wood and electronics together, it's all the same stuff, but this combo here, they hit it right on the head. So this is a reissue model, similar to the Rickenbacker, but this one is definitely kind of like a reissue reimagined. So again, let's go through. So this has the abalone side markers, which I absolutely love. They're gorgeous. It has the abalone inlays on the fretboard, which are beautiful individually and are just show-stopping when you open the case. It's also on the headstock, which you don't normally get on a Gibson headstock, and it's kind of ambered over as well with the finish that they use. It has this quilted maple top, which is extremely nice, and it has a finish that they call, or a color that they call Nordic Blue, which is a custom color that you're only going to find on a couple of guitars out of Gibson, and this is one of them. There were only 5 of these made, because I have the the little sheet that shows like the order form from Gibson, so there are only 5 of these made. Feel very proud to have one. And like I said, the back is this beautiful royal blue, but for some reason photographs purple. And I thought it was purple. I wanted it to be purple, but the fact that it's this beautiful royal blue is not a bad thing either. It's just really, really nice. It also has the 3 pickups, like I mentioned. These are 68 custom pickups, and I can't say enough about them. I don't know why they're so good or what makes them so good. They just are. And the big Bigsby at the bottom here, again, all done up in gold. It is, it's blingy. It's I don't know. It kind of just, it's got so much character to it. And this is one, I've got all the rest of my guitars up here, ones you can't even see from this vantage point, hanging on the wall. But this is one of 2 that live in the case. And I don't change things out like strap locks on the vintage reissues. So this one here, and we'll go through it at the end because I'm never going to remember them off the top of my head, but this one checks off so many items off the bucket list. It's got fret nibs, it's got the Kluson waffle backs, like I mentioned, and even stuff that we've already talked about before, like the ABR1, the medallion on the back, which they give you the one that's not the metal reissue medallion, but in the case, but definitely wanted this instead. Last quick little thing, this one came with a case that had like a gray interior. And I was a little disappointed because on the order form, it said, like the orange case is what they wanted, the orange interior case. But, if they didn't have it to go with the gray one, and this was kind of during COVID, and so it didn't come with that. Well, it turns out that one of my other guitars, when it's hanging up here, this silver sparkle Gibson Les Paul Custom, when I got that one came with the orange interior case, and so I swapped them, and it looks so much better now. Like this one just fits with the look of that orange interior, that kind of vintagey look, and the silver sparkle looks a lot better over the gray. So it's little things like that that get me. This one also has a certificate of authenticity, being a Gibson Custom Shop model. So this was, I originally wanted to get this because I was trying to decide between designing my own and getting a custom shop model that was already done, already designed. And when I saw this one, I realized, what, I don't think I'm going to be able to improve upon it that much. So that's why I ended up going with this one, and I'm so glad I have it. I get all worked up when I start playing this. It's unbelievable. I need to point out that this does not have any pedals on it. This is purely this guitar going into my Fender Blues Junior and into my torpedo captor, into the computer. And that's it. So this is on the rhythm pickup, which is just the rhythm only the neck. Listen to it ring out. Amazing. And now this is on the middle, which is the middle pickup and the bridge pickup together. A little more of that kind of quacky sound, but I don't know. I love it. And now onto the bridge pickup. All usable, all amazing. It sounds like it has compression built in somehow. It's unbelievably easy to play. You almost, when you play individual notes, your fingers kind of slide past the frets sometimes. And again, no pedals. Amazing. The Gibson 1968 Les Paul Custom checked a whopping 16 items off the list. However, the ones we haven't discussed yet in this series are a quilted top, a custom color, the Kluson waffle back tuners, the orange interior case, 1968 custom pickups, switch cover medallion, the Les Paul custom headstock, and a 3 humbucker guitar. The total so far is 31 out of 63 items. Make sure to check out guitarbucketlist.com for all the latest updates.